When people try to find us, they'll say, well, they've lived in Lake Oswego for 30 years and still don't know about us.
The Barre Botanic Garden is a peaceful refuge in an unexpected place. A 6-acre garden 15 minutes from downtown Portland and just miles from the rush of I-5.
There's houses all around us. You can see them if you look, but we've been careful trying to preserve plants that screen it. My goal is not to see things when I'm in here. I want to be able to feel like I'm really in the middle of nowhere.
Scott Vergara is the executive director of Barre Botanic Garden. He shares a passion for plants with the garden's namesake, Ray Sellingberry. She started the garden in 1938.
This is Phloxed surgens, which is a native phlox, and you can find it growing up on Mount Hood. You're not going to find this in most people's gardens. You're not going to find this in most garden centers. One of the things that makes us different than some of the other display-type gardens is the fact that when you come here, you don't necessarily see huge banks of flowers, roses or rhododendrons or something in bloom all at once all year long. It's more growing species, plants, individual things, showing how to grow them. I consider this pretty much like a Northwest style garden, which is kind of on the subtle side, not too flamboyant, not too ostentatious.
But how did a thriving botanic paradise end up in the middle of a neighborhood?
Ray started gardening in Portland in the Northeast, and just started gardening on her, the front deck and things. And she ran out of space after a number of years, and they started looking for some more land. This was really far from downtown in 1928 or so. And she liked this property because of two reasons. One, there was a big old-growth log laying across the creek, and there was topography. She didn't want a flat piece. So they bought the property and built the house in 1939.
Ray continued building her garden in this location for nearly 40 years, but she made no plans for its preservation. In 1976, when Ray passed away, it appeared the garden would be bulldozed and buried under the encroaching neighborhood. Thanks to some dedicated plant lovers, the garden and Ray Barre's legacy are alive and being carried on by people like Scott.
And it's very peaceful, but it's very subtle. I'm pretty much of a certified plant geek. Sometimes I come back into the office and people will ask me where I've been, and I'll say I've been out in the garden having unprotected sex. So I basically act like the bee and take the pollen off one flower on a plant and then apply it to the pistil where the pollen will stick, and then it'll grow down and fertilize the eggs here and form seeds.
This attention to detail has also helped conservation efforts at the garden's seed bank. The bank gained international recognition for its focus on plants native to the Northwest. Conservation Director Ed Garant manages the seeds of 300 plants, including some now extinct in the wild.
In the seed freezer here, we have seeds of our region's most threatened and endangered plants. Here's a few of the seeds.
And while the seed bank sits away from the public eye, the garden, 70 years in the making, is open to the public.
This is one of our native banana slugs. Anybody who gardens seeing slugs, they step on it, they think it's bad. Just because it's a big-looking creature doesn't mean it's bad.
Scouting for slugs and feeding insects to carnivorous plants are a normal part of Scott's day, and he welcomes others to join him.
The pitcher plants that are native to the southeast U.S. Attract insects by a sugary solution that's exuded by the cells right along the lip here. And things like wasps and flies and ants particularly are attracted. So they start feeding on that, and they get a little greedy, and the inside of here is wax coated, and it's much slippier than glass. They cannot get a grip on it, and so they tumble down into here. And so if you slit this open, you have forensic entomology. You can identify sometimes insect body parts. So it's kind of like a chronology of the prey. You can tell like that's probably, it was a fly there. But see, everything has a story, and that's what this is all about, is stories. And I'm not trying to turn everybody into horticulturists or botanists, but if I get people to appreciate the plants, starting at 5th, 6th grade, then I've got somebody for the rest of their lives who at least understands the value of plants.